guys, how's it going? So today we are in the yard to take a look at a new bivvy. If you've been around the channel for a while, you guys know that I love using bivvy bag shelters. I know a lot of you guys are interested in them too. There is a good number of bivvy bags out on the market now, some of which are military surplus, and then some are new makes, new models. They can be just a simple waterproof sack that you put your sleeping bag in, or up to a hooped bivvy, which is what this is. Kind of the transitioning point from just a simple bivvy bag you slide into versus a one-person tent. But these are great because they can offer better ventilation and they give you a bit of headroom so that you don't have material just resting against your face. But then the thing that is really unique about this one is it is in multicam. And I'm not fully aware of every bivvy bag on the planet, but off the top of the dome and the ones that I've seen, you have the British bivvy bag, which is one you can simply slide into, and it's in like a multicam MTP camouflage, and then the DPM. And I think the Australian military had a multicam, like maybe hoop style bivvy. That's one that's like pretty rare. And if you do come across those, they're typically pretty expensive. I think the ones I've seen was like $300 plus. Whereas this one is about $140 at the time of making this video. So this is an MT/AK Max. That company, I think they're either sister companies or they're the same one that just operates under different names depending on the platform they sell on. But I've tried out one of their backpacks a few times and it worked out really well. And then once I seen this, just had to get my hands on one. So as you can see, the form factor, that's pretty much what you're typically looking at with a hooped bivvy. I know that my Snug Pack Stratosphere is slightly smaller and slightly lighter, but this one is a bit more of a durable material, being like a 3-layer laminate nylon. They say that it helps with the breathability. I don't think this one's going to be extremely breathable without utilizing all of the mesh available, so keep that in mind. But let's go ahead and get this bad boy out and get it set up so we can take a look at it. And I wanted to do this before I actually took it out and used it, just to get a look at the actual features, and I thought I would share that with you guys in a little backyard video. There is our poles and our stakes, and then right there is the bivvy. And I gotta say that the rolled up form factor of this is very similar to the Gore-Tex US bivvy. So I mean, you're really not talking about something that takes up a ton of space. Here is a look at the bivvy laid out on the ground. Now, one thing that is really unique to this one that I don't think I'm going to be a huge fan of is this TPU window. I think that adds a lot of unnecessary bulk, and if you're really sensitive to weight of your shelter, then this is kind of an unnecessary weight. But since the sun's out, you can kind of get a look there at what this material looks like. On the underside, you can see the seams in there are done really well. We got the bottom, there's a bit of hair because I did just roll this out inside a few days ago. But I'm thinking that this window, I would much prefer to have that be just a mesh window so that we can get some cross ventilation. Okay, then here is our poles. And the hoop of this one does have a 2-pole design, and then we have a singular pole for down at the foot area. And then these poles right here are the exact same length, so it doesn't really matter which one you put in which loop. And this does just go together like the Snug Pack Stratosphere, to where you kind of have the poles pushing against one another in the direction that they go through these loops. So it's like your front sleeve will go in the back grommets. And one good thing is there is a bit of webbing right here to reinforce your back sleeve, so you don't have too much stress being put on the stitch work around that area. And then right there is your hood section up and in place. And I'm going to go ahead and stake this down because the wind gusts that we're getting right now keep wanting to catch this and blow her away. So you do just get really simple stakes with this, and since you don't have a large area of material to catch the wind, you know, this is a really low profile shelter, so these should be more than enough. Because you do have your pull outs back here that unless you just roll this back to try to take advantage of that viewing window, these will just be flapping around. Okay, so now we're going to see if we can get this foot box pole in here. Like, you could use it at this point without this, but to get that extra little rise in the material off yourself. And I am going to put gloves on because if you've ever got any of this type of stuff splintered into your hand, you know it's not fun. Okay, well, that actually worked, and I'm sure as you know this gets used, it'll be easier to manipulate, but that bad boy right there is under some tension. That up there. And then it just comes with these two pieces of cordage that look just like boot laces. It's got an aglet and everything on it. So the bottom one, we don't really even need to run any cordage. We can just pull it straight out with some cordage, and this is just going to help pull the top fabric taut. Well, and you know, for this one too, we could actually probably just stake this straight down to the ground. It's just hard to tell. Okay, and then there is the bivvy fully set up. And this does have the large YKK zips so that you can just kind of take and pull this thing open and not have to worry about them. The only thing that I'm noticing now that this is set up is top lip here that goes over our hood area, and then the lip that goes over the zip right here. There's a small area right there that seems to get exposed somewhat easily, so just something to take note of. With a bivvy like this, I mean, you can have it as shelter to get out of the rain quick and easy, but you know, you still want to typically have a tarp over you. In terms of ventilation, this is a thing that I really liked about this as far as the summer shelter goes, is this whole top layer zips down to about where your hip / thigh area is. And then you have all of this bug netting so that during the hotter and humid months like we're getting into now, you know, you got full ventilation. And this is where I was saying about that TPU window in the back. I would rather have it be just mesh like this so you can get a cross breeze, or if you did need to have this thing fully zipped up, you have good ventilation there. But one unique thing to this bivvy is you do have small side vents. It's kind of hard to show you guys these, but they Velcro shut if you need them. And then when you pull them out, there's not any real stiff material in there, but they will stay open on their own so that you can have some ventilation in the event you needed to fully zip this thing up, and that is on both sides. But then taking and opening the mesh up, right there is what our floor's looking like. Right now the grass is pushing up on that bottom material, so it's making it look like there's kind of less room in there than you'd think. Now, you're not going to want to use a super thick sleeping pad in this. Like, I would go with a thin air mat, and then if you needed extra insulation in cooler months, you could always put a foam pad just underneath. But then I'll take and get in this so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. So again, I am 5'10", weigh exactly 150 pounds. Another thing to note, just in case you're curious, the mesh material does stop, you know, at the same point the zipper does. So if you get in this with your boots or something on, you don't have to worry about, you know, your boots or feet catching any mesh material. But now if you're over 6 foot, this is probably not going to be a shelter for you. So with the mesh in place, it feels like you have pretty solid airflow, but right now, you know, we are sitting in the sun, so that's making it somewhat warm in here. That right there, there's a good, with no sleeping pad in here, there's a good, I'd say 6 to 8 inches from my belly button to like where that material would be. And you know, your sleeping bag and stuff like that would help fill this area out a good bit more. But then now without the mesh in place, if you can still hear me, that's what she's looking like. I can't say recording in the wind is one of the most frustrating things you can do, because that's like the 10th time my tripod's blown over. But it does block all the wind that is coming through, but just it does warm up in here very, very quickly. So anytime you have a bivvy, if it's fully enclosed, even like with those side vents, that's not going to do a ton in helping with the condensation issue. So having a tarp over you and utilizing the mesh material is going to be the way to go. But you still have a good shelter that you could throw up quickly, or you could still just use it kind of as a plain bivvy bag and crawl into it to get out of the elements in a hurry. And that's where something like this is really good, and it's low profile, so if you need a stealth shelter, it will more than serve the purpose of that. Now if you wanted to use this window right here to look out, I don't know, bird watching, whatever you're trying to do, like you can lay on your stomach and look out that window, but you're going to have a heck of a pain in your neck. So, again, I don't think that's really something that I myself would be using for any reason. So I feel like that pretty much covers everything. No, I just wanted to show you guys this in a backyard control setting before we actually take it out for an overnighter. Eventually we'll get it for a rain test, all of that good old stuff to see how she does. All of that stuff's just weather dependent. And I did just notice there are some buckles on this. No clue what those would be used for, unless there's some attachment of some kind they're planning on coming out with this, or if they plan on coming out with like a corresponding sleeping pad that could buckle into the bottom of this, that would be pretty cool. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. I hope you liked the little backyard first look at this before actually taking it out into the mountains for an overnighter. With it being summer and getting hot and humid, some more of these types of closer look videos will probably be dropping, because being out whenever it's 9 degrees and like 100% humidity is not enjoyable at all. So it's going to do it for this one. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you've not already, share the channel and the videos with your friends, family, anybody that enjoys good old outdoor activities and gear. Hit me up in that comment section, thoughts, opinions, questions, any gear you'd like to see covered in the future or in more detail. And until the next one, guys, adios.